Hello and welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. Today we are going to be talking about, let me just bring up my slides here, Alpha Launch. Before we get into Alpha Launch though, just a quick thing. Can you see my screen and do you see a little rocket ship on the screen? Can you hear my voice? If you could just let me know. Oh, perfect. Thank you very much for doing that quick AV check with me. All right, so let's get started. So Alpha Launch is a very cool technology. We've had it for, I don't know, 7, 8 years, something like that, maybe longer. What it does is it allows you to take applications that you have built in Alpha Anywhere and put them onto a mobile phone or a mobile device, so Android, iOS, things like that. It is a way of deploying to mobile devices. And it's a way that deploys to mobile devices that lets you take advantage of the hardware that's on those devices because it includes things called Cordova plugins, which are, if you're familiar with the Cordova system, are sort of a bridge between what the phone hardware is and your application. We've covered this in other webinars, and we're going to cover it again in the next couple of weeks. But for now, we're going to be talking about Alpha Launch. So where does Alpha Launch, when it comes to mobile deployment options, where does it fit sort of in all the different ways you can deploy an app? It's not the only way. So let's just put together a quick list here. And so the 4 sort of big categories are you could build a native application, one that uses Cordova, but basically at the end of the day, it's a real native application. If you build one for iOS, one for Android, they can be submitted to the app stores, and they're basically just a regular app as you would think about it, the kind of app you install on a phone. Another type of app that we have discussed is a progressive web application. These are interesting because they are still kind of like a web app, which we'll get to in a moment, in that they don't get installed exactly. First, you go to a website, and then when you're on a website, you can install the app onto the screen. There's a little prompt that shows you how to do that. It doesn't require you to have a username or password to the App Store, so it's much easier to use, and it also works not just on mobile devices, but it also works on a PC as well. There are some limitations to all of these. We're going to talk though specifically about Alpha Launch. So Alpha Launch, can it be installed to the device's home screen? The answer is yes. However, with Alpha Launch, you're not going to have, hang on, someone's saying, I'm only seeing the Alpha logo slide. Is that still the case? And if that is the case, let me go back to sharing. Yeah, that is the case, sorry. Oh man, you missed this beautiful slide with a rocket on it. So, all right, there's my rocket slide. We'll go back to this chart. So here is this, thank you very much for pointing that out. Let's go over here, back at questions, see if there's anything else I'm missing. Okay, great, we're all set now, great. All right, so we have native apps, progressive web apps, Alpha Launch, and mobile-friendly web apps. And these are just basically a URL, a website that you go to where your app is. So these are the easiest of all to deploy. You just won't put them up onto a server. They don't need to be downloaded. They work on a PC the same as a phone. There are some limitations. You don't have access to hardware like you do in other things. So it doesn't make it easy, for example, to use like barcode scanner or something like that. It is in fact possible though using JavaScript to do that, but it is harder to do that. So Alpha Launch is sort of the easiest of all worlds. The only time you probably wouldn't want to use it is if you want to build an application that is forward-facing, that you want your brand on and you want people to find it in the stores. But if you want to build an application for a client who's using it for internal use especially, Alpha Launch is pretty good. So I'll stop yapping away about the different deployment plans. Let me just show you a little bit about Alpha Launch so you see kind of how it works. And then we're going to get into the details of actually how to prepare your app and make it ready for Alpha Launch. So Alpha Launch is available as an application in both Apple Play and in the Apple App Store. And you just search for it under Alpha Launch and you can install it. When you install it and you boot it up, here are the first 4 screens that you will see. The first is our splash screen, but the next thing it asks you to do as the user is to scan a QR code. And you as the developer are going to supply that QR code to your users so that they'll have that code, they scan it, and when they do, what will happen is a list of all of your applications will pop up here in a screen like this with the word install next to each one of your apps. Maybe you just have one. In that case, you'll just have one install. When you click install, it'll bring you to another screen which shows you that app has been installed. Now, one nice thing about Alpha Launch is you can install multiple apps into Alpha Launch and have them all accessed from one icon on the home screen. So once there is, you also have control over here as to what the tiles look like for your application. In this case, we used a logo, and there's a background shading and stuff, and I think a graphic in the background. And we have the name of the application, we have the description. You have control over all of that. You don't have control over these three pieces here, although for some clients to our professional services division, we have branded these specifically for their company. So if you did want your own version of it in the App Store, it is a possibility, but in many cases it's not necessary. You can just use the one that comes for free with Alpha Anywhere. All right, so this is what it looks like to the end user to install your app, which isn't too hard. Just go to the App Store, find the Alpha Launch app, scan in the QR code that you give them, and then select the app that you have created for them. Okay, so now let's take a look and see how it's actually done. So for that, I actually have a recorded demo because I realized that we had gone through this process, and it looks like 2 years ago at our DevCon, and it turns out this is a pretty good video. I edited it down, made sure that everything is good, and I'm going to show that to you now. Now, for some folks, I know that videos don't play in GoToWebinar. So what I'm doing here in the chat window is I'm going to paste in the URL, the bit.ly link to the same video. It runs about 13 minutes, and you can go ahead and click on that. Otherwise, if you just hang on a second, for the rest of you, it should play right here in your browser. I'm also here for any questions, and you can keep typing questions into the questions box. So let me go ahead and start that video up. Find it here in the list. Alpha Launch step by step. Here we go. And away we go. All right, so I'm here with Chris Martin, a Alpha Launch expert, and I brought him an app which is actually running on his computer now. It's a really simple app. It just has 2 buttons. Hi there, Chris.
Hey.
All right. So would you want to take a look at working preview and so we can show off what this app does?
Sure, here you go.
Thank you. And there are 2 buttons. One is called Hello World. And if you go ahead and click on it, you'll see a little message appears there at the bottom. And there's another one called Cordova Test. It's also supposed to display a message, but it does it using a particular Cordova plugin. And it's meant to see whether or not I can run Cordova plugins or not. It's sort of just a test. And here you'll see phone gap notification, or you could say Cordova notification plugin is not installed. So we know that that's it will work once Cordova is working. And Alpha Launch has some Cordova plugins, including the notification plugin. So let's just go ahead and click OK on that. And so, Chris, before I put this app onto Alpha Launch, I think you told me something about a button like an exit button or something we have to add. Is that right?
Yeah, we need to add an exit button here. I'm going to do that right now. Exit. I'm going to double click on this and add a new action. Call it, type in Alpha Launch actions. And in here, there's only one choice.
Okay.
That's exit to Alpha Launch home screen.
I see.
So that needs to be added. This is so your application can get back to the list of apps if you have multiple, or also to avoid having to close the app and open it up again. So you need a way to get back.
So without an exit button, I could get stuck in my app and have to sort of force close.
Get stuck in the app. And you'd have to close it and open it again to select a different app, or even to select it again.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I'm going to click OK here. We don't need anything there. And I'm going to save this. So we now have a...
So it should be good to go. Yeah.
exit button, and it should be good
Sweet.
to go here.
All right.
So the next step we need to do is we've already have an Alpha Cloud account, so we're gonna
Yeah.
be publishing this to our Alpha Cloud account,
Okay.
and um, publishing settings are already created. We could just
Yep.
select the publish on cloud here,
So
but
let's do it.
when we created that, we also see that over here. So we have this is our Alpha Cloud, and we can say publish. I'm gonna publish our files up there to our Alpha Cloud account. Click OK. So it'll take a little bit.
While this is going, a reminder, you can definitely use Alpha Cloud, but you can use any server along with Alpha Launch if you wish.
So this is now being published to the cloud. It's just finishing up loading some things it needs to do, and when it's all
looks
done,
like
we'll
that website link, is currently grayed out.
Yeah, it's grayed out right now until it's completely done.
Okay.
And when it's done, we'll be able to click on that and see our application has been published properly. Cool. It should be done in a second here. Or should I say a few seconds here? There we go.
All right.
Okay, so now I can click on that link here.
Yep.
And here's our application.
There are my 3 buttons. So let's try it.
We can still click Hello World. That's still good. However, if I click on the Cordova test, we're still not in alpha launch. So
we're just looking at it as a web app right now.
Yeah, we're getting a similar message like we got in when we tested it in working preview.
Right.
So, and then you have the exit button, which also there's nothing to exit to because we're not running it there quite yet.
Right. Okay.
I am, however, I'm going to copy this, so I have this for later on. So the next thing we want to do is we want to publish to alpha launch, and you can find that under more, alpha launch, publish apps to alpha launch. Now, first thing we need to do is we need to publish a component that we want to run. We want to publish this hello world here. So I'm going to click add components, click your hello world, click OK. Then I'm going to double click on this. I could have also hit the edit button. First thing you need to do is give your app an ID, and I'm going to call it AL hello test. We'll give it a name. Hello world. In the description, show messages.
All right.
Now right now,
it looks like you could do some branding and stuff there under the template section.
Because it's very plain right now, but this is how it's going to look. Colors and everything using the default settings. We could add an icon here, but we're not going to do that. This is all we need. But you can do that branding right here, and you can put HTML. You can do all sorts of things to make your app, to make your button look how you want it to when displayed in alpha launch.
Very nice.
One of the other settings I'm going to change here is just because it's faster. Publishing single with header. I'm going to choose that option here. And then finally, if you want to add some additional files that you also get put up into the download section, and that will be pulled down onto the device, for example, an image.
Great.
You can do that here. So other than that, this is ready to go, and we can publish. So I'm going to click OK.
Yep.
Then I'll come down here and I'm going to click Publish Alpha Launch. Now I'm going to click Alpha Cloud.
Is that your publishing profile?
To publish it to the Alpha Cloud. This is the
so you
URL.
copied a URL earlier, right? And that URL goes there.
And that goes there, but since I already had this in here, it just copied it automatically, the last one that we had. But that's where you would paste that right there. We also want to see our demo. I'm gonna call this demo 2. Just in a pop-up just to change what was in here already. And I also have selected here to publish to Amazon S3. It's just a little easier. It's a little faster. I don't have to have my server running or have IIS server running. This gets published to an S3 account that Alpha has. And this is basically just puts your files so that it can be downloaded onto the device when you're in Alpha launch, when you're downloading your application. So we have use Amazon S3, and we have everything else set
So
up
now
here.
this is an account. I don't have to set up this S3 account, right? That's provided
No,
for me
no,
free
no,
of
no.
charge by Alpha.
Yeah. As I
Great.
stated, yeah, that's something that we host. So it's just a place to grab the files and download them.
Nice.
So now I can click OK, and we're gonna publish. It's gonna publish again. Okay. Proceed with publishing.
Now, we had mentioned probably in an upcoming version of Alpha, it may not be necessary to publish this either the first or second time.
We should be able to do this all in one location. We needed to get this value. So in an upcoming version of Alpha, we should have that all set so that you don't have to copy it here and publish it twice.
So it'll be even faster to get something deployed.
Yeah, cool. It'll be even faster. You'd be able to do it right from the screen instead of having to publish here first on the publish settings. Or if you clicked on Cordova here, you would see there, excuse me, not Cordova, you clicked on Alpha Cloud, you would see that there's a publish option right there also, which does the same thing. Cool. So, okay, everything, it's done publishing. Click OK.
All right.
I'm gonna come back in here.
So now it's on Alpha Cloud. I mean, now it's on Alpha Launch. Pardon me.
It's not on Alpha Launch. I'm going to come back in here because we didn't do this ahead of time, but to show the QR code.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, we can actually show the QR code, and this is all the information that gets pulled down onto the device, so this doesn't have to be entered manually by hand. You could enter this. Yeah. You could enter this all manually by hand, but.
So now at this point, you're going to want to have the Alpha Launch app installed on a mobile device, whether it's Android or Apple, and you can find the Alpha Launch in both of the stores under the name Alpha Launch. So I think you already have a device where that's installed. Is that right?
Yes, I do.
So let's take a look at it, if you don't mind.
So let me back to here.
All right.
Okay, here.
So there's Alpha Launch on, looks like an Android device in this case, and there's the logo. Yes. So that's what it looks like when you're finding it in the store.
So I'm actually clicking on the Alpha Launch icon on my device here. And this is going to change in an upcoming version. Installing an app, we're going to have the ability to scan a QR code right from this point instead of
that makes sense.
Going through a lot of these screens here. So I'm going to now I'm just going to say show list. I can use default, which will bring up some default apps that we already have up there, or I can specify a URL, and I want to specify a URL, and then down here I want to scan it. And there we go. I clicked on it by mistake. I'm going to scan.
You press the wrong. I'm just going to pause the video here for a second. As I showed you at the beginning of the session, the process flow is a little bit different here. You don't have to go through all those three screens. In fact, as soon as you open up the app, the first thing it does is ask you for a QR code. So we have made the improvement since this aired.
I'm going to scan.
You press the wrong button. Yeah, there we go.
So I'm scanning now. I'm going to scan that QR code. So there's our Alpha
And there
Launch
it is. Great.
demo too. That's the reason I put some extra stuff just to show you that even though I tested this earlier, this is the information that we just recently put in there. So I'm going to go back to the screen. And now here's our app that we can install. I did have the option where I could have added the example 1 and example 2 back here, and those will show up as their own.
I see.
Here.
But but we really just wanted the one. So
we just wanted the one app here. So I'm going to click on the install. finished downloading. Hello world, successfully added the app to the list.
Great.
And there it is. That's the same. That's the color, the default color that we chose. Everything
All
that you
right. Now
saw.
the moment of truth. Does the app work now that
How
it's an
does it
alpha
work? Let's
launch?
find out. All righty. Okay. Well, we still have our button there, Hello World, and
Okay, that still
yeah,
works. That's good.
that's
Yeah.
that still works. Here's the Cordova test. Yes,
Ooh, Cordova is
is
running.
one.
So that was the text we put in to show
That was
us
the
that
text we
everything
put
was
in
working
for the.
okay. Great. So now obviously you probably aren't gonna, you may or may not use the notification plugin, but Cordova is used for a whole bunch of other things as well, barcode
Yeah,
scanning and things like that. So it's a, so even though this test was just to show that it was working, that I think the bigger point is that now you'll be able to have access to native hardware and other things that we've included.
yeah.
Yep.
So now here is where our exit button comes into play.
All right.
Click exit. As you can see, it comes up here. It says
Exiting.
exiting, and then we
Oh,
go
and we're
down from the
back.
screen.
Well,
So
that
without that button, you would have been stuck
I bet.
on this screen, and
So
you would have
Chris, that's this is absolutely terrific. Thank you very much for showing this off.
sure.
I hope people get a lot out of it.
Me too.
All right.
Like I said, changes are coming to the application just to make it a little bit simpler.
Sure. And we'll keep you up to date. All right, and we're back. Let me just put my screen back up on for a second. Sharing. And this one. And there we go. Excellent. All right, so do we have any questions here today? It looks like we have got a couple of them. Actually, we've got several, so let's start. The first is, can you think of any security implications in using the public version of Alpha Launch versus a private branded version? I cannot think of any real security implications there. The amount of stuff in the public, first of all, they're pretty much exactly the same apps, and they're still available up on the App Store. If you wanted to use, say, your own private S3 bucket when you're storing the manifest of the files that go in, which Chris showed you when he was doing the publication. We said, oh, you don't have to use your own S3 bucket, you could use ours. You could do that, but keep in mind, the only thing that's being stored in those files are just a point to your public URL and to a list of assets that are probably not like secret assets. They're just ones that hold what the icon of the app is and things like that. Now, once you launch that UX component, that can absolutely be hosted on a server with the security framework turned on, and we'd recommend that. So once you clicked on that, it's at that point you would be logging in to the application right there. So so like all the security stuff happens after you get into Alpha Launch. All right, next up, with Cordova not being used in the future, what changes? Cordova is going to be used in the future for a while. Ideally, we would like to go to progressive web apps and things like that in the future. That would be superb. It would also be great if Apple let us put progressive web apps into the App Store. But right now, the market is sort of fractured. So if you do need to get into those app stores, or if you do need to take advantage of hardware, then Cordova is still a really good way to go. But more and more stuff can be done with progressive web apps and more access to hardware and things like that. So the next question is, does Alpha Launch have things like barcode scanning and stuff? Yeah, it sure does. In fact, in the, let me just find you the documentation, hang on a second, for Alpha Launch, because there's a lot of good stuff in there, including the list of plugins. And I kind of had an exciting revelation about that as well, because we're going to be adding a few more. But let me go find the documentation here for Alpha Launch. Hold on a second. All right, now I'm going to switch to showing my screen. All right, you should be seeing documentation here. This is Alpha Launch. So this is the official documentation for the Alpha Launch feature. And I'm going to put that right here in the chat window. And there is a way when you are in alpha launch, maybe it shows you here. Here it is, called list phone gap plugins. That might now say list Cordova plugins. Cordova and phone gap, think of them as interchangeable terms for now. Cordova was the original name, and we've reverted back to the original name now that we're not using Adobe's service for building apps. So anyway, right here is the one that you would click on, list phone gap apps. It'll show it to you. So we have ones for, I think we have like vibrate to get the user's attention. I think we have flashlight. I think we've got camera for sure. We've got audio recording. We've got barcode scanning. We've got SQLite in it. And I think we have a few others. But the one that's super cool that I want to show you in about 2 weeks is OCR. We now have the ability to do optical character recognition offline in an application. So just take a picture of something and it will read it, turn it into the text, and store it as text in a text field. And that's something I'm going to show off to you in about 2 weeks. All right, let's see. Are there any other questions? This is a question about a repeating section, and I've seen this question before, but I still don't have the answer to it. If you want to send that into guides, GUIDES at alphasoftware.com, that would be great. And I can take a look at it. I was also planning on doing a webinar in repeating sections. So I know this question, or a question just like it, came up earlier when we were doing a review of what the upcoming webinars. So if you could send that to guides, GUIDES at alphasoftware.com, I'd be happy to take a look at it. All right, next question, OCR and transform. Yes, very good. That is, in fact, the plan. It's going to go into alpha launch first to make sure that the OCR plugin works and behaves the way we want it to, and that's going to go into transform. Interestingly, this is a plugin we created ourselves, so it's one that we know that have the code to and we maintain, which is great. All right, let's see. Is there anything else? That looks like it. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to be out next week on vacation, but I will be back the following week, and then I hope we will be talking about OCR. But until then, send your questions to our team here at guides, GUIDES at alphasoftware.com. Thanks very much for attending. Hope to see you 2 weeks from today. Bye-bye.